Now he's going to try and take it away from him. Logano and Sadler down low. Back comes Brennan Poole. Sadler gets shoved below the yellow line.
And he regroups. He'll bring the car back up onto the racing surface. Logano dancing back and forth from lane to lane. Here comes Brennan Poole up the outside. Help from Jeremy Clements. Side by side for the win at Talladega.
Brennan Poole on the outside. Joey Logano on the inside. Logano gets the run. Elliott Sadler just pushing him for all he's worth. It's Joey Logano leading the way. Elliott Sadler pushing him off turn 4.
Here they come. Into the front straightaway and into the tri-oval for the final time. Joey Logano gets together. Hard into the outside wall and is tagged by a couple of cars as the leaders crash across the finish line. A hard hit for Blake Cook. A wild finish as the leaders come to the stripe.
Brennan Poole did cross by about 1/3 of a car ahead of everybody else.
So NASCAR officials are making the determination now as we speak.
Elliott Sadler is the race winner. Elliott Sadler now comes out of the car. He'll stand and wave to the fans.
Boy, what a finish there. You come down to the stripe, and Joey Logano is leading it, and then he and Elliott Sadler get together, and as they say in the descriptions, mayhem ensued for the TV shows.
Yes, one of the gentlemen that were heavily involved in some of the pushing, I believe, Jeremy Clemens. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
What did the last laps look like from your seat? We could talk about the entire race, but we really run the entire race to get to that last 2 or 3 laps. It looked like you and Brennan Poole were making some headway.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'm just glad we survived. Typical Talladega plate racing, just push the guy in front of you for all it's worth, and then wait till you get to the line. I guess you race to the line. I tried to anyway, but if they'd have told us they're going to freeze the field a couple hundred feet back, then I could have maybe made a different move. But that I hate that happened because we really had third, but they obviously froze the field. But yeah, we made a deal with Brennan there the last couple of restarts, and I just said, man, I will told my spotter Brandon, who does a phenomenal job. He spots for Danica on Sunday. Told him I'll push him as much as I can, and obviously when we get around to the front stretch, I'm going for the win. So. But I didn't get to. But it was still a great run for us. We needed that a lot because been struggling this year with the bump stops rule changes. So, yeah, it was a great race for us.
I mean, it's fantastic, a fourth-place finish. Give folks an idea. I mean, this is a family team, and you guys show up with a minimal crew every week and are really kind of doing it out of your own pocket. Give folks an idea about your team and how you got to where you are now, because it's really a situation where you're running against multi-million-dollar teams with just a few guys, right?
Yeah, it's not the ideal situation. It's not something that, you want to do, but it's one of those deals where you have to do it if you want to be in the sport. Because unfortunately, unless you got a big check you can write to one of the big teams, you really can't drive for any of them. So it's unfortunate that it is that way, but it is, and we're trying to do the best we can to stay here and run as good as we can. We're not a starting park team, and we run every race. And we had three people, myself, my dad, and 2 other guys, Tommy and Dave, that worked their tails off, and got a couple friends back at the shop. 2 or 3 people that help out when they can, and we built our own engines, Clements Racing Engines in Spartanburg, and man, I got to give those boys a shout out. That thing ran 270, 280 most of the race when I was behind people, and I was just waiting for it to, something to happen to it, but it didn't. It held up, and that's one of our best engines too. We only got like 4 or 5 of those, so we got to take care of them.
One of the interesting things, every driver has a path they go down, a struggle, a climb up a ladder through late model and ARCA, Xfinity, whatever series you're topping out at. But your interesting story starts back in the early 2000s. I had a little bit of an injury, and they ended up sewing your hand to your leg.
Wow.
Yeah. To my hip.
To your hip. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of awkward otherwise.
Yeah. So talk about that injury and let me know where you stand on that. And that's an amazing feat of medical advancement since 2002.
Yeah, I know. It was. I was racing dirt late models at the time. This was 2004, and I've already run some ARCA races and a Busch race at that point. And I actually had signed a deal with MRN Motorsports for 5 races, and then this happened, and that didn't happen. So it wasn't even a wreck or nothing. It was the drive shaft broke, and we were running a steel drive shaft, and it's a 2-inch small steel drive shaft, and it just broke and come through the car, and a piece of it struck my hand, and they had to the first surgery they had to do was 8 hours, and it was terrible. It was one of those things you never thought could happen, and unfortunately it did. But they operated on me 10 times and took a year of rehabilitation and trying to get it back together. Thank the good Lord that I still have a hand, because they wanted to cut it off when first got there. So and it's just one of those freak deals, and I never thought it could happen, like I said. So and just to even be able to race, I always thank the good Lord when I get in the car for the opportunity, because I tell you what, I've raced since I was 7. It's all I've ever done. So I don't know what else I could do, honestly. I mean, I'd have to find a real job, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to keep trying to do everything we can to make this work and stay there, and hopefully, you never know, try to get a break and get an opportunity to drive for a big team one day, maybe.
Well, speaking of breaks, I mean, you mentioned getting a real job. You mentioned the family organization, and you guys build dirt late model motors, right?
Yeah, they do. They build a lot of dirt late model engines for a lot of big guys that run across the country, and they win a lot, and they're very good engines, and some of the best engines, honestly. I'm not just saying that because it's my family, but they work their tails off, and they've been doing it for over 30, 40 years now. So they're really good at it, and I always complain about my engines, wanting them better and this and that, but I know that it don't pay the bills, so they can only work so hard on mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're talking about moving forward in any 3 of the big major series in NASCAR. You've actually had some affiliation and tryouts for Richard Childress Racing, and you were able to qualify and practice some Joe Gibbs racing cars. So you're right on the cusp of getting in that door that you're trying so hard. What's the one thing you need?
Oh, it's pretty simple. Money.
Yep. And we hear
You cannot get a ride these past few years without bringing money to a team. I've done some stuff for Gibbs before. That was 2008, 2009. I got to practice qualify. I had to sit in Kyle Busch's seat and Joey Logano's seat. I couldn't reach nothing, and it was, I think we qualified 7th at Kentucky and was second fast in practice. And the cars are amazing. I mean, they're just. You drive them the same, and you're like P2, P5, and it's like, wow, it's just amazing. But it's just the way it is. Unfortunately, it doesn't really. Yeah, it's good if you're good at it, but you really need some money to get your foot in the door and then do good, and that's what it takes to get you there. But just never had the opportunity I feel like I've deserved to even race for a big team, and I feel like I can definitely get the job done if I had the chance. But hey, until that time comes, we're going to keep trying to make it the best we can. And we got Dover coming up. We've run good there. And I think we finished 10th there last year, actually, this race. So want to try to improve on that and try to make this chase this year. That's pretty neat. We want to be a part of it for the first year in the Xfinity Series.
If there's somebody out there that wants to get a hold of you pursuing sponsorship opportunities, do you have a management team or a place that they can get on a website to look for you?
Yeah, just hit us up. You can go to my website, jclements51. I'm sorry, Jeremy Clements 51. jclements51 is my Twitter handle. You go on that, message me, and go on the website, and there's contact info. And yeah, we'd love to have some partners. We got some partners now that make us to get us there, and they do a lot for us, like RepairableVehicles.com and All South Electric. I want to thank those guys for everything they do. I tell you what, without people like that, like Brad from Repairable, it'd be impossible. So just sponsors make this sport go around, and we need them, unfortunately. So it's part of it.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully popping up on the radar with a strong top 5 finish at Talladega like you guys did on Saturday will help with that. But, Jeremy, man, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on a strong run, and look forward to seeing another one out of you at Dover.
Hey, thank you guys for having me, and also I want to thank Xfinity for all they do for the NASCAR series, and they're always watch. I love their app and everything they're doing for us, so thank them too.
Yeah, man, it is really cool. I love it as well, especially for the flights. Man, Jeremy, thanks. Congratulations.
Keep it up.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good day.
There you go. Well, that's just such a cool story to see. That's why we wanted to get him on, is to tell that story, because from where he's been to where he is now is remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, a catastrophic hand injury that he almost thought he was going to lose his hand. Now he's competing in the level, again, to run around Talladega Super Speedway 2, 3, 4 wide, and to be able to bring a car home. And I wanted to ask him, and I forgot to, where that car was going to race next, because it's not Daytona. It's going to be Dover. I'll be willing to bet.
That car they had is not a super speedway
exactly
car.
Right.
It's not. They
and
don't have one.
So they're getting their car ready. Probably it's going to be a backup at Dover. It might be their primary at Dover, or a couple, 2 or 3 races down the road in the Xfinity Series. So kudos to those guys. We've seen those small driver stories. We've got the guy leading the Camping World Truck Series points without a sponsor, family-owned, with Nemechek's. And so we see it all around. All these guys need to do is get their foot in the door and provide that opportunity for them, and I think they'll get it done.
Yeah, a couple of other orders of business